Recently, there's been a controversial statement going around online. Gen X parents cause the most trauma for their kids. They're often described as emotionally distant, strict, and sometimes even cold. But there's one question people rarely ask. What actually shaped Gen X into the way they are? Because the truth is, before they became parents, many people in Generation X were also a generation that grew up with a lot of unspoken wounds. They were kids who had to grow up on their own, a generation caught in the middle of huge social and cultural changes. And those experiences shaped a very unique psychology. To truly understand who Gen X really is, we have to look deeper into the hidden psychology of this generation. Generation X refers to people born roughly between 1965 and 1980. They grew up in a world without the internet, without smartphones, and without social media. But as adults, they became the generation forced to adapt to some of the biggest technological changes in history. From landline phones to smartphones, from fax machines to email, from traditional workplaces to the digital world. But more importantly, the way they grew up shaped a very different mindset. Gen X once had a famous nickname, the latchkey generation. It referred to kids who came home from school and unlocked the door themselves because their parents were still at work. In the 1970s and 1980s, divorce rates were rising, and more households had both parents working. So many Gen X kids had to take care of themselves at a very young age. They cooked their own meals, did their homework alone, solved their own problems. This made them a generation that became extremely independent. But on the other hand, it also taught them something else. Don't rely on anyone too much. Gen X is also known for being a very practical generation, sometimes even a little skeptical. And there's a reason for that. They grew up during a time of the Cold War, economic uncertainty, and major political scandals. Those experiences shaped a mindset many Gen X share. Don't trust systems too easily. Take care of yourself. As a result, they tend to be less idealistic, less romantic about the world, but far more grounded and realistic. Today, many Gen X adults are in a very unique position. They're taking care of their children and their aging parents. At the same time, this is often called the sandwich generation. Studies suggest that nearly 70% of people in this situation are still working full-time. That means every day they're balancing work, family, finances, children, and elderly parents. It's no surprise that many studies describe Gen X as one of the most stressed generations today. But here's the surprising part. Despite all that pressure, Gen X is also considered one of the most resilient generations. Psychological studies suggest Gen X tends to show higher levels of emotional regulation and adaptability than younger generations. Maybe that's because they've had to adapt to so much change. They lived through the analog era, the rise of the internet, and the smartphone revolution. They didn't just watch the world change. They had to change with it. There's another interesting way to look at Generation X. They're like a bridge between two worlds. On one side, the traditional mindset of older generations. On the other side, the fast-moving digital culture of millennials and Gen Z. In many families and workplaces, Gen X are often the ones who hold things together, carry responsibility, and keep everything running. But the interesting thing is, they rarely talk about it. Maybe the most overlooked thing about Gen X is this: they're not a generation. that talks openly about their feelings. They don't usually post long messages about healing. They don't always say, "I'm struggling," but that doesn't mean they don't feel pressure. Many people in this generation have quietly carried responsibility for their entire families, quietly solving problems, quietly holding everything together. And maybe that's exactly why Gen X became such a strong generation, not because they never felt pain, but because they learned how to keep moving forward, even when they were exhausted. Gen X may not be the loudest generation, but they are certainly one of the most resilient, a generation that has quietly kept the world moving forward. If you found this video interesting, consider subscribing to explore more hidden psychology behind different generations, Gen Z, Millennials, and the untold stories of the generations before them. Because sometimes understanding other generations helps us understand ourselves a little better.